Good morning. Welcome to Caffeinate Your Career. Today's topic, job resources you're probably not using, but should. I'm your host, the career coach with the most, Jason Hopper. With me today, Sandi, you haven't been here. It's been like a year since we've had you on the podcast.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I'm really thrilled to be
here. I'm excited that you're here. We've got career coach and former CHRO slamming Sandi Knight. Welcome to Caffeinate Your Career.
That's me.
Sandi, it's been a minute since you've been here, so give everybody your kind of your elevator pitch there.
Okay. Well, I spent, I would say, at least 35 to 40 years in the human resource arena, and up to, as Jason said, the CHRO level. And in 2019, I think it was, our company got sold to United Healthcare. I was in the healthcare industry. And from there, I thought I had my coaching certification from UTD. So it was time to use it. And so I started my own LLC, and it was executive and career coaching. And the reason I say both, because initially I started with executive coaching, but it really evolved into career coaching because once people found out I had the HR background, they wanted to do career coaching.
Sure.
And I love it. I truly love it. And so that's why I do this.
Well, I appreciate you being here. Thank you, Londa Chen, for letting me know that we are live. So we talked about topics, and we landed on job resources and things that I think just overall job search itself is hard. Because I think especially today, and because I really a lot of what happened was the way job search is executed today has changed, but nobody told anybody.
That's a good way of describing it.
Right? Like back in the day, you would go to your job boards like Monster or Career Builder, and you would apply to a job, and then the recruiter would call you, and then you would get the interview, and then you would get the second interview, and then you got the job offer, right? And people are still doing that. And that's not how job search works today in 2026. It's all completely different. And in fact, when you look at the job boards themselves, and it's so interesting to me because I think a lot of the job boards are just kind of dead. I mean, I can't even remember the last time anybody told me I saw this job on Monster.
Yeah, well, Monster I think has been out of the game for a long time anyway. But I think Indeed is probably still somewhat, popular, but still not as much as LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, Indeed is, and they boast that they are the world's largest job board, mostly because not only can employers just post directly onto Indeed, but also too, they will go and use that spider technology to go out and just repost things that are on there as well.
Yeah, they're basically a web crawler.
They are 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And what that means though is that there is a lag oftentimes when you apply from a third-party site. I just know when I worked for the state, part of my job was to try to get job leads for my clients, and I would see stuff on Indeed, and I would call up the employer and tell them, right? Tell them who I was. It's a free service. I got a free candidate for you. I used to be a recruiter. I know what I'm doing. And they're like, "Where did you see this job?" And I was like,
"Wrong, Phil."
Yeah, they're like, "We filled that 3 weeks ago." I'm like, "Oh, it was on Indeed." They're like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And a lot of people don't know that. And I think when we get to it, I think the best way to apply to positions is going to be at the company's website.
Definitely. I've read and I believe that you should not apply through LinkedIn. There is one circumstance where you have to, and I talk about it a little bit later, but I can bring it up now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Is that in LinkedIn, a lot of people, and I've just learned this to tell you the truth, a lot of people don't know that you can actually pick three companies and put a priority on that. Okay. And with those three jobs or alerts, or you have to apply through LinkedIn.
Yes.
So they must have some kind of deal with the employer or something like that. But other than that, I would not apply through LinkedIn.
Well,
you want to be immediately in their ATS.
So, well, let's talk about a couple of things. Let me back that up. So you can set employers to be preferential for
Yes.
you, and that way, when they go to search, if y'all don't know, when recruiters search for candidates, most of them are on a different level than what you see on basic LinkedIn. There's a recruiter portal that they get into. They get into the portal, they start searching for candidates. And if you have said that you want to work there and made them a priority employer for you, you're going to come up at the top of the search more than anything else.
The recruiter will see that. And then there is also another thing just called putting alerts.
Yes.
For on companies' websites, and having a alert for your job search in LinkedIn where they send you jobs as they're posted.
The other thing too, and when you set your job alerts, and that's one of the things that it's how I got here. Actually, I'd set my LinkedIn up to say or send me an email, and every time a job that posted titled career coach.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. I saw it that Monday morning, stopped everything I was doing, applied to the position here, turned around, sent a DM to my contact here, along with my resume, and I've been here like 6 years. So,
and even though that was 6 years ago, that's how you do it.
Yeah, for sure.
That part has not changed.
No.
So.
I mean, like you mentioned the applicant tracking software just a minute ago. So the ATS is designed to block like 97% of the people that apply, right? Mm-hmm. So here's something that I think people don't quite get, because they're all up in arms about the it's like the robots. The robots are keeping me. No, they're not, because and there's several different versions of the software, but it's like the human. It's like yes, no, maybe. Like they're the ones pushing the buttons to determine who's moving into that process.
Right.
And people don't understand that. They think that they don't have the right keywords, and that is an important part of how to get to the top of the search and ATS. But also too, when you apply, most likely you may not get a call for that particular job you're applying to.
Right.
But you're still in the system, so you could potentially get a call from something else.
Correct, absolutely. But and we're probably going to get into it in somewhere along this route, because you can't dismiss AI in this process. And one thing you can do to hopefully get through that ATS process is put your resume in with the job description into AI and say, where do I match? Where don't I match? What can I change? What would I, right?
Yes.
And AI will spit that out for you.
Yes.
So there's ways to get through the ATS system better and quicker as well.
Well, I think too, when you do that, it's also a good idea to make sure that when in the query that you have it not change things.
Right. No, they should you're just looking for answers. You do the changing. You should never copy and paste. Ever, 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 ever.
Yeah.
Because that will be worse. That they say, oh, well, they just did AI and no other creativity.
Well,
right? So that's not going to be good.
But I just, a couple months ago, I had a client. He came and sat down in my office, and we were working on his bullet points and wordsmithing them. And I had said to him, I'm like, okay, well, and he's he's a data scientist, so like it's a lot of technical stuff, and I don't understand that. So I'm like, what does this mean? And he goes, what? And he went, he looked at it, and he goes, oh, I don't know. AI wrote that? I'm like,
Oh gosh, yeah.
no. Everything that is on your resume is fair game for somebody to ask questions about. And if you don't have it or don't know what it is, and AI put it there,
Yeah,
you're in trouble.
not good. And that actually begs the question also in the sense that you better know what's on your resume because you put it there,
Yeah.
right? So don't just look for the fancy words or things that you think they want to hear. You just, whether it's AI generated or whether it's yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen in interviews where I'll ask a question and they go, and they were like stuck for a moment.
Yeah. Well, so I think that just applying to jobs is one piece of the puzzle for your job search. Right. It's exactly just that much, just about the inch, because it's applying. And this is funny. I ask every single client, every brand new client that comes in to see me for our first meeting, I ask, what has been your process for job search?
Right.
And I'm taking notes and I process. And if I hear back, well, I'm on Indeed, I write no.
Right.
Because guys, just sitting at your computer and applying to jobs is not a strategy. It's not. In fact, just because the way the ATS is set up, I think that unless you know somebody at the company that can either email or take your resume and walk it to somebody, that applying to jobs most of the time is a huge waste of time, just because of that reason.
Yeah, you want to be in the system.
Yes.
So don't discount applying. But I even say this in my notes at the end: 70% of your time should be spent networking. Period. You're not going to get a job today if you do not network and get into that company through a live person somehow, somebody you know. I just had that experience on a call this morning where an old colleague of mine called me, and my son is looking for a job, and he told me the company he's going to, and I said, oh. I said, hey, my son's looking for a job, and do you mind if you take a look at his resume or go to his LinkedIn? He says, yeah, because he's going to be high up there. He has a lot of, power to possibly bring him in.
Yes.
So
but
you have to be networking all the time.
I say all the time, network.
Well, you
or not work.
You know what I say. You got to be willing to talk to anyone, anytime, any place.
Well, you're correct. So you said 70%. I tell clients 80%.
Okay.
Like I'm 10% higher than you on that one night, because
I'll go with it either way, but you get the point.
Right. But that's the point. Is like if you want to get someplace and you want for things to start happening with any degree of speed in your job search, you need to start talking to people.
Yeah.
And I tell clients all the time, if you come at me and you tell me I'm talking to people, I'm going to be in your face like you're not talking to enough people. Talk to more people.
Can I tell the example of when I was at the deli counter?
Yes. Yes.
It's a good example.
Yes, I love the story.
So I was looking for work. I've been laid off 3 times, so I certainly know where people are and how they feel today. But I was literally in sweats. Right? I was going to the grocery store. Who cares, right? So I'm in the deli line, and this man in front of me orders, I want to say it was like 7 pounds of deli meat. And so I just jokingly said to him, I said, well, how many people are you feeding with that? And he just laughed and he said, I work at home, and so I don't eat bread, so I just eat the meat. So I always buy enough for a week or so. And I said, oh, what do you do that you get to work at home? Because even then, it wasn't that popular. It was before COVID.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, I do. And I said, oh, that's very interesting. I said, I'm actually in job search. And he said, really, do you have a business card? I said, yeah, because I carry them everywhere. And I said, yeah, I sure do. And I gave it to him. And guess what? he sent my resume to somebody in Houston that he knew, and I think it was a recruiter. I don't recall exactly, but and nothing became of that one. But it's just a great example of how you have to be willing to talk to people all over the place.
Anywhere, everywhere. It's like I get that all the time. It's like, where can I find people? Well, I don't know, where are people at?
The grocery line.
The grocery at the deli. Like, I remember like years ago when I was in staffing, and I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. Staffing, it's fast paced, it's stressful, and usually at the end of the day, you're at the bar.
Yeah.
It's like this was pretty much every day. My every day in staffing, it went like this. Man, I closed 3 deals today. Let's go out to happy hour and celebrate.
Yeah.
Or it goes like this. We lost the client. I think we need a couple of beers. That's staffing. That every day. That was my experience in staffing. Okay, and so I'm at the bar and I have my beer and I'm playing the trivia game because I love the NT and trivia, and I'm playing the trivia game. And the bar that I used to go to was a regulars bar. Everybody knows everybody in this bar, right?
Norm.
Yeah, it's like I'm Norm, and I'm at the high top table, and at the low top table there's a dude I know, and he's talking to some guy I don't know, right? And this guy who I don't know is like, yeah, it's been really hard since we moved here. Like, my wife is having just a hard time finding work, and she's stressed out. And so, I'm trying to help her. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
I don't mean to be eavesdropping, but
I'm like, I heard your conversation. I'm a recruiter. I'd love to try to help your wife out. Here's my card. Have her call me. I put her to work in 2 weeks. And it turns out the guy was actually the owner's son, who was at their he was running the restaurant, another restaurant they had out of state, and he sent him down here to run this restaurant, and then me and Chris became friends.
That's how it works.
And that's how it works, right? And I could go on and on with stories like just like that, and like you at the deli.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
And I hear people say to me, well, that's easy for you, Sandy. But the fact is, anybody can do it within their own comfort level, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to be like I was at the deli counter. Hey, how many people you're feeding with that? But it is about opening the door with something to talk about.
Yes. Well, and this is why I love meetups so much.
Right.
And I tell my clients, go get into a meetup. Make it a fun meetup.
Something you enjoy.
Whatever you like doing. And here's why. Because when you show up to the meetup, they are already going to like you because you like whatever the thing is.
And you start seeing the same people.
That's right.
So they get to know you. Yeah.
And they get to know you. And so now, and just like you said, right? People are going to ask you, what do you do? It's just kind of a standard question. Actually, to be honest, it's kind of a rude question, I think. Because like, what do you care what I do? What's your business what I do? But that's just how we talk and communicate, right? Like,
most people don't have any issue with that.
And so, yeah, and they'll tell you like, oh, well, I'm currently in career transition, or I'm looking for my next opportunity in accounting.
Right.
Okay, and so but I go to meetups. I have a gaming meetup I go to every Wednesday, and I know what everybody does for a living.
Oh, I have a walking meetup.
They know what I do.
We meet to walk at different parks.
And you know what everybody does, right?
Right.
Right, because even though you're walking and you're talking about your life and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's tons and tons, of course, of meetups, and there's so many other things like that I think people are missing.
Yes.
In their job search. So
well, they don't think about that type of. They don't think about going to meetups as a way to get employed. But just like we were talking and telling stories, that it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Just real quick, in the chat was kind of moving fast, but my buddy Ruth Sternberg, who is a career coach up north, said, I don't know about you two, but I hear so often that, quote, it's the ATS keeping me from getting the interview. My response to that is usually, is that all you're doing, applying online? Because it takes more than that to be seen and known. 100%. Thank you, Ruth, for popping in there. And she also said, Yes, Jason, good question. I asked the same thing. Preach. You know, we're talking about networking, Sandy. Let's talk about LinkedIn.
Okay.
Because and we were talking about LinkedIn just a minute ago, but we didn't really get into the meat of it because I think more than anything, what's important in networking is to remember that LinkedIn is social media and you need to be social on the site,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so engaging in other people's content is so important for that visibility.
Yeah, either commenting, liking, reposting, just so you, and it also keeps your LinkedIn profile more visible. The more you are active, the more your LinkedIn profile moves up the chain. When somebody
Yes.
hits looking for this person.
Correct.
So it's really important that you do, as you said, engage with content and be active.
So yes, so LinkedIn and the algorithms, and there's more than one, guys, but the algorithms reward people that are active members in their LinkedIn community, right? And so the more you are able to engage in other people's content, which is just networking, it's just a different form of it. It's electronic. And the more the algorithms realize, okay, this is important. And when recruiters run searches, you're going to come up closer in the search because you are an active member in your LinkedIn community. I do recommend that you tag the person and also leave a comment. Here's why. If you just do thumbs up all the time and you don't comment, I'd like to compare that, and this was not my comparison. I got this from somebody else. I don't remember who. Like if you show up to an actual networking event in person and you're standing there and they make eye contact with you and all you do is give them a thumbs up. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, and you don't say anything to them? That's weird. You're a weirdo. Stop doing that. Make a comment. And please,
It's for people who are already employed.
please make the comment something more than great post.
Yeah.
Like add your 2 cents.
Right.
Be thoughtful in the comments that you're going to make.
Yeah. Be, as what's the saying? Be more interested than interesting.
Yes.
So
Yes. Always when you're talking to somebody, always make it about them.
yes.
People
Yes.
love to talk about themselves. And studies have shown, and as our buddy Jim Warner likes to point out, people will leave a conversation and the person that did the most talking thinks the conversation went great.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? Like, man, we had a good conversation. Did you?
Yeah. Well, before I forget, I want to say the other thing about LinkedIn is I do recommend that people get InMail or the premium. There's various levels of it, but when you have the premium, you can do a certain amount of InMails directly to a hiring manager that you may not be connected to, or directly to a recruiter that you may not be connected to. Of course, you try to get connected to all of them first, but it does help you get more ability to reach people, because just LinkedIn, which you should have you should be adding people all the time on LinkedIn, because then you can directly talk to them.
Correct.
So if you met somebody, take their information, add them as a contact or request a LinkedIn. But the other part of that is with just the regular LinkedIn, yeah, you can say, I can send a note to you. You're my first contact. And so I can say, hey, Jason, what's up? How you doing? We haven't talked for a long time.
We talk all the time, Same.
We do, but but you
Yeah, no, right.
And I use the example. I know a guy that got a job because he contacted a guy that he hadn't talked to in 12 years, and the guy said, "I know a job in Denver," and he referred him, and it ended up that he got to stay where he was, but the job was in Denver, and so there's just so many things about LinkedIn that you can utilize in your job search.
So real quick, because we had a question from Sandra Dixon, and she said, "Do you recommend business cards even for a person who is unemployed?" Uh, what do you think?
I say yes.
Okay.
And it could be electronic business card, or but definitely have something, because again, you might be in the grocery line. So
Yeah.
have them in your pocket.
Yeah.
And say, oh, well, here's my card. Here's my information. I'd love to connect. So I still think they're valuable. Let me put it that way.
I'm having second thoughts on the whole business card thing. Most of the time, I think, why do we still do this? But you're correct. If you're in the grocery line and kind of chit chatting, this person doesn't. They're looking to leave.
Yeah.
Hey, here's my card. Last week, we had some time off for Passover,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife was off that week. She had way too much PTO and had to take time off. And so we decided to have a date day. And we went down to Bishop Arts District. There's a brew pub down there I've been wanting to check out called Jack of All. And it's kind of a small place. And we found we went in, they said, we have table service, just find a seat. We sat down. Turns out we're sitting next to, I find out later, one of the owners of this brew pub. And people kept coming up to her and talking hey, how you doing? Just want to introduce myself real quick. And she's like, okay. And she's working, but trying to be polite. And like people are handing her business cards. I'm looking over there. She's got a stack, like about an inch high, just a pile of business cards of people just keep coming over and talking to her. And in my head, I'm like, well, crap. I thought that was a real antiquated kind of thing. I don't have a Rolodex on my desk.
Right, of course.
Usually clients, give me cards. I'm polite and I take them and just throw them in the drawer next to me and they sit there until I clean it out. Or I had a friend once, I met, we were friends on X and then met in real life. And I'm like, hey, what do you do? And he's talking to me. And he gave me his business card. And I went like this. I took my phone and went click. And I handed it back to him. He goes, what? He was all offended. I'm like, dude, it's in the cloud. I got it all the time now.
I used to use an app called Hi.
Yeah.
And,
HI? Hi? Okay.
And it could send the business card directly to somebody also. So there are electronic ways, but there are times, you may not at the grocery line want to take out your phone. Oh, can I have your phone? And, so sometimes it's better. That's why I say do both.
I'm overthinking or rethinking my strategy on that, and I'm gonna say yes, high five, that's good. I'm gonna go yes with that. LinkedIn. I want to talk one more thing about LinkedIn because we need to move on for time.
It is a great subject. I have to agree.
I will talk about LinkedIn all day long. I tell clients, if you want to talk about LinkedIn, be prepared to spend the whole hour with me talking about LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm,
but I think just today, job search is all about visibility and about who knows you and what you're trying to do. And I think posting content on why you're the expert in the field goes a long way with that visibility.
Yeah. And people are afraid, in terms of networking, and I could do a whole hour on networking because I'm very passionate about it. But I always say start with your friends, family, and neighbors first, who are employed. And it doesn't matter where they are. Right?
Yeah.
It could be across the country because you just never know who knows somebody, right?
Right.
And then there is a question I always tell people to ask. And it's amazing how this one question can get you another contact. Is there anybody else in your network that you think I should talk to?
Yes.
It's a magical question.
Yes.
It's just a magical question.
Well, it keeps the networking moving forward and it gives you somebody else to talk to.
And it grows your network.
Yes. For sure. I was looking at the chat. Ruth says that people still use business cards and she doesn't look at the cloud and would rather have something physical.
Okay.
Thank you, Ruth, for agreeing with Sandi.
You get points for that, Ruth.
Yes, 100%. Ruth and I are going to be doing a webinar next month. I believe it's going to be on the 13th. There'll be a lot more marketing on that coming up on why it's important to tell stories in your interviews.
Okay.
Because it is.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that next week too.
Other things, places to go. This is like says alumni networks, right? And I know and I've worked with some college grads and people. It's like they use like the app or whatever it's called, Handshake. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's like it's basically just like an introduction type of site for other alumni. But I don't want to get into the whole college thing, but it is still an important bit of networking, and we're talking about LinkedIn. It's a filter you can use on LinkedIn.
Well, not only that, sometimes when you apply, when you see a job, it'll tell you X amount of people from UTT, let's say, where I went for my credential. They'll say X amount of people work at this company.
Yes.
Or, so, oh my God, it's like handing you a contact to call and try to network into, get information about the company.
Yes. I think also too, it's important to work with recruiters.
Yes.
Both internal and staffing agencies. Staffing agencies can be like your third party, and they will have their contact already with the employer. So you don't have to try to establish that contact. They've already got it, and they should know what their client is looking for. A good recruiter can also help coach you during the interview process or tell you what, and I did this all the time, especially when I was an on-site manager. And before I even dropped the candidate off, I would go to the department where the person was interviewing and talk to the manager. Hey, here's this person's resume. I want you to know you like this thing and they have it. And then I tell the person as I'm walking into the department, hey, Owens is not very jokey, so don't be jokey with him, but he does like that you have this experience, so make sure you bring that up in the interview. And I've already told the manager.
Yes,
so,
I have lots of thoughts on that.
Yeah, go. Tell me.
Well, do we want to talk about that now, or do I want to talk about resources? And next week.
Okay, let's talk about resources. Sandy's here to keep me on track because she knows me well, and I will go down that rabbit hole.
Exactly. Because there really are so many resources that people don't think of. And, you've listed some, I've listed some, and, you've already talked about meetups, professional happy hours, look for that. And where do you find some of those? In the Dallas Business Journal is one of the places. And I recommend everybody have a subscription to the Dallas Business Journal, because not only do you see who the movers and shakers are, who's up and coming. I have a friend at Carrington who just got awarded the 40 under 40 in the Dallas Business Journal.
Oh, cool.
So I know her, and I can write her a note and say, oh, congratulations, well deserved, blah, blah, blah. And so the Business Journal, and it also talks about different events that are coming up, business events, so that, I always say go to networking groups like South Lake Focus Group or Frisco Connect is another big one. But those are people that are unemployed. That's okay, because they still have worked in various industries and companies. But at the same time, you want to be around people that are working, that know the company, and may know of opportunities. So I always say do both. And there are some business groups around that some people may not know about. And a big one is Success North Dallas. So it's held every, I think, second Wednesday of the month. You can look it up on their website. They have speakers. They do want you to join eventually, but you can kind of sneak in for a while.
Yeah.
And it might be a slight charge to go to the meeting, but there are a ton of people attend Success North Dallas.
Success North Dallas it's a very good networking group, and it is a straight up networking group. This is not. These are the people that know people. This is like, hey, I need a plumber. Oh, I know a guy. Like,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, I've been to
Anything.
Success North Dallas. Casey Haston, who runs it, invited me once, and I went. And that's I wasn't sure what to expect, but that's exactly what it
Yeah,
is.
and anyway, they used to. I don't know if they still do, but sometimes they allow people to stand up and say what if they're looking for something, or a connection to something. So then there's also, and this is a little different, but some of you may have heard of the First Friday book synopsis. So it's early, and you can do it online, or you can go in person, which it's in the I think it's called the Tower Club on.
I haven't heard of this. This is
of,
great.
Off of Sherry Lane, and I guess that's University Park. I'm not sure, but it's early, but it's a breakfast, and what this guy Randy, and I'm going to maybe not do a good job of his job. I mean, of his name, Mayu is, I believe, how you say it. He's been doing it for 30 years. He basically takes 2 business books and gives a synopsis on it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's fabulous because you get the cliff notes. Could that possibly help you in an interview? Maybe, perhaps. I think so. Because you could possibly say, "Oh, by the way, I just read this book."
Yes.
And it says, or even just quote it. So that's another one. And then, as I mentioned, other networking groups and churches and all kinds of places they have that.
Well, and just earlier, you found something on Eventbrite.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Let me talk about that.
Yeah.
Last night when I was kind of just looking around, well, I subscribe to Eventbrite. So in my email, I saw this thing that says,
yes,
okay, new events from your favorite organizers. You've shown interest in your past events. Now they're planning something new. And lo and behold, who is this for? It's for Jewish Family Services of Dallas, who are having an event on Tuesday, April 21st, 5:30 to 6:30. And it's about how hiring really works and why applications aren't enough. I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have never thought this was going to be on Eventbrite. So it's just another example. I mean, there's other things like Eventbrite.
Sandy brought that in. She goes, "Have you seen this?" I'm like,
"It's mine.
It's my presentation. Of course I've seen it. It's me." And she had no idea that
because I didn't see the Jewish Family
She
Services.
didn't know that. But like Eventbrite, you can find just like meetups. There's all kinds of stuff. By the way, if you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area, mostly Dallas, I will be doing a presentation next week, 5:30 to 6:30, on that topic, how hiring actually works and why applications just aren't enough. It's at the Workforce in Plano at 1101 Resource Drive in Plano, 75074. Come see me. It's going to be amazing. Because I'm amazing. In the chat, Yolanda Chen says, "Jason, you set a high bar for recruiters. Unfortunately, some recruiters don't do that. There's going to be good and bad in every profession." And Gary France had asked Ruth, because Ruth would say, "Hey, I will answer comments in the chat." Ask, "What is the job market realistically for a 60-year-old?" What are your thoughts?
I'm not going to lie, it's tough.
Well, it's tough. Job search is tough anyway.
Job search is tough. But if you go into an interview confidently and, are professional and talk to people who you're interviewing with about what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
And yes, the salary thing is going to come up. But if you're willing, and most people are, to take somewhat of a cut, we all have our limits. We got to eat, right? So
sure.
You have to say, look, I could tell you what I was making, but it really doesn't matter because I'm at a different place in my life. Whether you are or not, and so you have to speak to what you bring to the table. Now, can people tell how old you are in your resumes? Possibly. It's how you do your resume.
Yeah.
So
so there's this big myth that like, or even like I'm 45 and nobody's ever gonna hire me again. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry, Greg, who is 60 apparently, from what he said. I don't know, but Greg, I'm 53, bro. That's only 7 years. I'm young. Like, and people, we're living longer. Like, and people are working longer.
Right.
I say, like, so I've been here 6 years. As of last month, I've been here 6 years. Before me, Mitch, who was our lead, he'd been here, I think it was 25 or 27 years. If I could put in another, let's say 15 years here, and then retire, if I want to retire. But I like my job. I like what I'm doing. I'm good at it. I'm still like have a lot of energy, and
Well, you just said a word that I love to use.
What's
that? Is energy.
Yeah.
If you go into an interview at 60, 64, 65, whatever the case may be, because I have friends at 60, that's 64 looking for a job. So I do understand what you're saying. But it's how you do the interview. It's so critical to have that energy and confidence and be able to speak very prolifically and with confidence, as I say. I just think it's so important. If you go in there and you're just kind of slumped, and how you dress also is a big part. If you dress like a older person, or maybe you have a little belly or something, and your buttons are pulling. Okay.
Get a shirt that fits.
It's like, yeah.
Get a shirt that fits.
So it's how you present yourself.
And
in that, now somebody is sitting here going, wait, I don't even get the interviews. But that's where networking comes in.
Right. Well, and that's the other part of that, which is people will go on the interview and then they don't get the job, and then they'll interview and then they don't get the job, and then they interview and they don't get the job, and then they're like, they're ageist.
Right.
They're not hiring me because of my age. No, they're not hiring you. They're not hiring you because you don't interview well.
Yeah.
Period. By the way, great time to do the commercial. Because guys, if you didn't know, I'm about to tell you, we have a virtual interview practice program here at JFS. We do it every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Central Time. Sandy's on the team. You want to interview with Sandy? You can do that.
I'm doing one today.
She's doing a practice interview today. Here's how it works. I'm going to put you and the interviewer into a breakout room. They will interview you for 30 minutes. Then there will be 15 minutes of feedback. After that, you're done. Log out. By the end of the week, the interviewer will have sent a feedback form to you, or to me, which I will then forward on to you. If you're like, oh my gosh, Jason, that's amazing. How do I get into that? You need to email me. My email is my name, Jason Hopper, JASONHOPPER at jfsdallas.org. I'm going to put VIP2 in the subject line. I'm going to need your resume. I'm also going to need a job title that you want to interview for, because I'm going to go to AI and have it list out interview questions, and those are the questions that the interviewer will ask you most of the time. I say that because like Sandy's been doing this a minute. She could wander off script. She can wander off script, and that's fine. She knows what she's doing. So same for Butnick. Scott Butnick. Every single person that Scott gets, he asks this question. Tell me about a time you had a difficult customer and how'd you resolve it? Every single person. Because I don't care who you are or what your position is, you have customers. Whether it's a client-facing thing like my job, or you're the accountant, their customers are the other departments, right, that they help get paid. So I'm full up today. You can't do it today. Next week, I've got 2 spots left. Get on it. Email me. By the way, the one mistake I see job hunters make time and time again is they do not put enough preparation into practicing interviewing.
Yes.
And so, like, it's the thing that's going to make the difference. If you don't interview well, you need to start practicing. Get on it. By the way, just so you know, right now, no charge. I am not charging for this service. It is free. Free virtual interview practice. Hit me up. Sandy.
Okay.
All right, we're about at time.
All right. What else do we
What
have?
final
Sandra.
thought on job resources besides JFS should people be looking at?
I just ask you to be creative and to think outside of the box, because a lot of people get stuck on, well, I did this and I did that. I did go to a networking group and things like that. So there's just so many different ways that you can meet people and talk to people. And don't think of it as selling yourself. But do have when somebody says, well, what do you do? I used to say I'm pre-employed. But what I'm passionate about is making an impact on the company's bottom line in terms of their, making sure their people policies and things like that align with the company. And for an example, when I did career coaching, I might say, in fact, I use an example. I knew one of my clients was a person who hadn't done anything except for manage a women's rowing team. Now he's in a software company and he's been promoted twice. So it's just be creative. You just never know. Coffee shops, go to Starbucks, start a conversation with somebody sitting next to you. If they're working, say, hey, how do you like working at Starbucks? Do you find it noisy? I do. Things like that. Conferences and seminars and
the Starbucks thing is so crazy because I had a client like 4 years ago, and he was in a very niche field, and he got to a point where he needed to just get some cash flow, and he also wanted some benefits. So he got a job working at Starbucks. Mm-hmm. So part-time. And so the next time we have our meeting the next week, I was like, hey, how was your first day at Starbucks? He goes, oh my God. He goes, I'm just talking to people and being me. I got 2 leads for me and 1 for my son who's looking for work. I'm like, there you go.
Exactly. And referrals are still one of the most effective ways of getting into a job and getting hired.
Yeah, you know what? They call it the hidden job market. The jobs aren't hidden. They're just not necessarily published on job boards, mm-hmm. right? And so a lot of companies have a bonus, a referral bonus, if you refer somebody. Exactly. So it like trying to get into specific companies and building champions in could be beneficial to that person, right?
Yeah.
And like last week when Joe Nunez was on, and Joe said he knew a guy. He worked at like a Fortune 10 company, and he made an extra $60,000 a year just by referring people. That's on top of his salary, $60,000.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's crazy.
That's working it.
Keep paying attention.
So people are very often willing to talk to you, even if you don't know them, because they know they could possibly get a referral bonus. Yeah. So when you say to them, hey, I'm interested in your company, would you have 10 or 15 minutes? Always give them a time, by the way, so they know that you're not looking to have this hour-long conversation. Could I take 10 or 15 minutes of your time? That kind of thing.
It makes the difference. And then that's the other part is you got to follow up. You can't just talk to them one time and then like nothing happened. Well, they didn't help me out. Well, you didn't follow up either. And I think it's always important, like when you follow up, you don't need to really send like a DM or email and be like, hey, did you know I'm still looking for work? No, they know that.
Yeah.
Like send a DM or an email like with, I don't know, like maybe in the conversation, it turns out that they had a picture of their cat on the back, that you can see. So like send them a funny cat meme. Like you be personal, but like stop or at the very least, like, hey, I just read this recent article on project management. We're project managers, thought it was cool. Here's the link. Like try to do something that's different in the follow-up.
Yeah, and if they did take your call, be sure to write them a note and say thank you, how much you appreciated it. I'd like to stay in touch. I felt like we really had a good connection.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I always thank people for taking your time. And one thing I wanted to say about recruiters is that they're not going to be in contact unless they need you, just so you know.
Right.
So you may have contacted a recruiter, they may have accepted your resume, but they're still not going to contact you unless they need you. So
Right.
just keep that in mind.
Right. Joe was talking about that last week. It's like, yeah, hey, you haven't heard from me in like 3 months, but I haven't had anything.
Yeah.
But now I do. And
Don't call me, I'll call you.
Well, that's the thing. Like recruiters don't work for job seekers.
Right.
They work for their companies.
Yes.
Or their third party, they work for the third party company, their client. They work for their client, not you. And that's a big people misunderstand that all
And
the
they
time.
love taking resumes because at least they have you in their database.
Yeah.
So that if,
Or-
a year later something comes up and they're searching in their database for somebody that might be, eligible or qualified, then your name might come up. But other than that,
I always kept, like had it on an Excel spreadsheet, like person's name, what they did, like people that I've sat down, had an interview, and actually qualified, and they're on the bench waiting to get placed for something else, right?
yes, I think it's important to, like you said, track also who you talk to, when you talk to, who referred you, things like that.
It makes a difference. And just a quick tactic, if you're going to follow up with your recruiter, make sure that when you email them that you attach, or DM, that you attach your resume, so that they don't have to. Jason Hopper, who was that guy? You can't forget me. I'm unforgettable. But they have to. You just open the attachment. Go, oh yeah, I remember. And they don't have to go searching for your resume.
Exactly.
So, okay,
All right.
Sandy. Final question of the day. This is always the fun question. What are you currently obsessed with?
I am currently obsessed with how AI can help you in your job search.
Okay.
And because people think the worst of AI right now.
Yeah.
We're losing jobs because of AI. And, we are to a degree.
Yeah.
However, as I mentioned earlier, it still can help you hone and fine tune your resume or for that particular job. One thing I didn't talk about, and this is a good example, is like the best companies to work for in Dallas or Forbes or whatever. If you find a company that you're interested in and you take that description and you put the whole list into AI,
Yes.
you put your resume in and you say, which of these companies would I be a good fit for? You would be amazed at what comes out. And then you might want to target those companies.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm obsessed with AI, because I do think it can help you.
Yeah.
If you use it right.
100%. It's actually, when I do or have new clients and I'm trying to figure them out, it's a quite standard question I ask now. Are you using AI? And because if they're not, I'm like, you need to start.
Yeah.
You need to
I
start
just
using it.
finished a whole trip by using AI. So
That's awesome.
planning a trip, I should say.
Next week, Sandy, you're going to be back, and we're going to be talking about how to power up your interview strategy. Is that that's not what it's titled?
Skills, all of
Yeah, we're going to be talking about interviewing next week and then your interview presentation, because it's super important. So come back and see us next week. In the meantime, this has been Caffeinate Your Career for today. We'll see y'all later.